Welcome to Surf Dudes with Attitude, a side project, in betweeny seasony kind of thing. My name is Pete. I'm from New York City. Hello.
This is George Howell. I am in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Oh, and
My name is
we got
my name,
you hear that voice? We
oh
got somebody
jeez.
returning. We got a really special guest talking to us today.
Oh
Somebody who
jeez.
requested this episode, and now he's stuck with us.
It's me.
This is James. You want to say hello?
It's me. I'm James Oliva. I'm in Brooklyn.
James, you came to save the day the last couple seasons. The first season we just had you on, we wanted to torture you with the California Dreams episode, and then the next season you kind of came on when we needed a guest host, and then we did this really fun dinosaurs episode together. And I think somewhere in that evening you were like, you know what else we should do? And then George also echoed this statement many times. He's like, we need to do something with coming out of their shells.
That's exactly what I said.
And I was like, please no. Like, one of the few times I was like, I remembered how painful this was. But this does perfectly fit our aesthetic. This is about a band.
It is 90s. There's nothing more 90s than Ninja Turtles.
There's definitely a fucking narrative, as painfully as one of the reviews that I read called it wafer thin plot.
Oh,
But
dude, I was gonna say that. Yeah,
but it's there, and we're going to talk about it. And if anybody doesn't know, we're talking about the official 1990 concert tour, coming out of their shells tour from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, sponsored by Pizza Hut.
For all of you that are
fucking
joining us
mouthful.
today, I just want to say thank you, we love you, thank you, we love you.
I got okay. So this is dense. Oh, good. I also have the Turtlepedia.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Well, I
So
figured
do
it was
I.
the most appropriate source for our turtle information.
Oh, somebody was a Encyclopedia Britannica for all things turtle, and I'm glad because I definitely remembered seeing some of this. We have a friend, Mike Zucker, who's been on the podcast before, who actually saw one of these shows.
No
Oh,
way.
wow.
And he got the poster, and that poster stays in my room to this day. He officially got that at the show, which
You know what's funny is I don't even know him, but that makes so much sense.
So before
Yeah.
we go on with this, have either of you seen this before this episode?
I'll jump in real quick. I will say that I thought I saw this concert footage, but when I found out I actually had watched the making of this concert footage. This the movie it's so long. They stretch everything. But the thing I had watched was actually the making of. It was a 30-minute featurette about this thing. So it was even more into the inception dream world of this fandom.
So I had not seen this before, and what we have watched and what we're going to be covering is the pay-per-view event. There was a regular cassette. I believe I saw that, and it appears to be the same event, just shorter. So
Okay. Yeah, so there definitely seems to be added songs on here. This whole thing started with a Pizza Hut promotion. When you got the pizza, when the Turtles movie came out, it came with this cassette tape that had 9 songs on it. But the actual concert footage, there's something like 12 or 13 songs. So they put some B-sides on there that nobody asked for. And we're gonna try to talk about all of them as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's
So
all
my journey
filler,
with this
all filler,
started-
no killer. Yeah.
in 1990, I did go to Pizza Hut, and I did get the cassette
Yes.
for
I
$3.99.
got the cassette as well. That just shows how old we are. But I wore the shit out of that. But I also remember only really liking about 3 songs on this whole fucking cassette, which is about right for the cassettes that you had to buy back in the day.
So-
it wasn't Spotify, kids.
I'm sure I had cassettes, but this is the first album I remember having. It was most certainly the first concept album I owned.
Well, so you had The Wall, and then you had Coming Out of Their Shells tour.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the perfect
Well,
companion.
that explains a lot. But I, I was impressed with whatever I saw when I was a kid about how they really, because I was starting to get into guitar and they were really getting into, like, if you watch the behind the scenes featurette, they try to connect all the dots about their instrumentation and like how it actually works for them. So we're gonna get into that briefly, but as I was rewatching it with adult eyes, I was like, this motherfucker is like ad-libbing and saying some real technical shit that no child would understand. And the featurette is pretending as if this is an actual band, an actual show. But they were supposed to go to something like 50 to 60 cities. Half of them did not. They were canceled because of low ticket sales. So if you
Was that
actually got to see
shocker?
this show,
Was that toward the end?
You were
Because
lucky.
these, like the beginning, when it, like even though it had terrible reviews, the beginning, all of the tickets were selling out.
I'm sure the first couple shows were, but then as word got out how pockmarky and melanoma skinned these turtles looked, I don't think people were going to come out to the rest. Because if you
Okay.
see the credits in the beginning or on this film, they were basically blocking out a week in each city, like 4 to 7 days in each city, and then what ended actually happening was only 1 to 2 days in each city.
So did you guys notice how many different costumes, like turtle costumes, there were?
Yeah, because this was not all filmed on the same night.
Right, like everything backstage was a costume that looked like the costumes in the movies.
It's like a Weird Al show. There was a lot of set
Yeah.
changes, and I'm kind of bummed it got
No,
such bad
no.
reviews because they didn't phone it in. They actually tried. Like
this
No,
is just
no, this is it's highly produced, but
this
highly
is
produced
Guar
garbage.
light. It's Guar light.
but then
That's all it is. It's Guar light.
Guar for children.
Okay, it's Guar for kids.
it's more
That's all
dry.
this is.
But if you watch the making of the alleged making of the fake mockumentary thing, it looks like all the promotional material and everything, all of the prepping was done in the original costumes, the big bulky costumes that actually
Yes.
look like the movie stuff.
Sure.
And then for this show, they go down like they're coming out of their shells because their shells are fucking missing. Like they're just wearing a jean jacket
Yeah.
with the front plate. Their back shell's completely gone, and they have all these weird spots over their head.
Okay, I'm gonna blow your mind right now. I just realized that they didn't have shells on as they were playing.
Dude, it's called
Like,
coming
you're right.
out
They
of their
did.
shells.
They said jean jackets. I get it.
Coming out of their
I
shells.
thought that meant.
What did you think that meant? Please tell me. What did you think
I
that
thought
meant?
it meant they were coming out of the sewers and going on tour. But
Oh, like a metaphorical shell.
but
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
can
yeah.
just like dip in and out of their shells, is what
They're
you're telling
turtles.
me?
No, they can't, and they do go between
Turtles,
the two costumes.
turtles
'cause-
historically can't do that.
right. Yeah. So looking at everything, they used slimmer, lighter costumes for on stage because they wanted the performers to be able to dance easier, move around.
Yeah.
Well,
So they
did you see that sick fight choreography that they definitely didn't skimp on?
I didn't.
They needed to be limber and flexible.
Where was that?
It's all
I
throughout
didn't-
the show. I don't know
I
how you
didn't.
missed it.
I didn't see that. No, I missed that.
Okay, well, do we want to get into this now?
So
Yeah.
before we do, the only thing I want to touch on, this album and all of the music production was done by MCA, who
Yeah,
in the world of I don't want to say a gimmick, but in the world of music themed projects are the ones that did California Dreams. So
This is connected. This is the
is
same
prior to
unit.
California
Interesting.
Dreams.
Wow.
So, do you think we would have California Dreams without this? Do you think this is why the California Dreams actually didn't go on tour? Because they're like, remember what happened with the Shells tour? You know?
Could have been like, I mean, realistically, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie comes out in 1990. It sells $200 million worth of tickets. They create this to
I'm
jump
sorry,
in
what?
on that. What?
Did you just make that number up?
No, the movie. The movie sold 200 million.
I thought you meant this tour.
No.
brought in that amount
So
of
then,
money.
then they make this tour to cash in on that.
I see.
This tour is failing right about the time that California Dreams is starting production.
Okay,
Interesting.
I'm saying that has to have at least crossed somebody's
Yeah.
desk that said this concert thing that we're trying
Yeah.
out.
Some coked up executive who approved this show was like, "Oh yeah, this new idea for a show sounds great. We're hemorrhaging money. Let's do it."
Yes.
I just love. I think I felt weird watching this. Okay, it disturbed me in so many different ways.
Have you seen it before?
No, I didn't know this existed at all. I had no I had no idea there was a Turtlepedia page. Okay, and watching this show, I kind of knew what to expect, but I just love how quintessentially 90s it is.
Yeah.
It's like this was like before Disney had really started going to amphitheaters with whatever Pixar movie on ice. That's a thing now. It wasn't necessarily a thing back then. So they're like trailblazing. They partner with Pizza Hut. They have a cassette with music, the strangest assembly of musical types. It was like a now that's what kids call music, but just within the Ninja Turtles universe. I don't know, man. It's just like so quintessentially 90s. For nostalgia,
music,
it was nice. It was
the
nice
music
to
really
revisit.
is too. Like the guitar screams Joe Perry.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
okay. So let's get into it. Do we tell? There's a plot to this. If anybody's worried that we're just gonna be talking about a concert, fret not, because like there is a whole goddamn narrative that you're gonna have to follow along with this.
Really dumb.
Wait, what's dumb? The Turtles are becoming rock stars. They're done with the fighting. They're on a journey of personal growth, and they're trying to do something positive with music.
Who is fighting crime?
If it wasn't for that
who's
damn
fighting
shredder.
crime in New York City while they're off on tour?
They can
Okay?
influence more people with soulful music.
So they love this. In the featurette, they were talking about how the Turtles. Oh, there's a quote I want to bring up, which is so stupid, but like maybe. Okay, so the producer behind this was giving a history of the Turtles, and he's like, MCA believed in them as a band, not just a commodity to be exploited, and that's what the Turtles were looking for in a label. They believe in the music. So they were saying that the Turtles, this is their calling. They're going to be musicians, and they wanted to find a label that would treat them with respect. And MCA came calling. And not only did they come calling, they came down to the sewer to check them out. They auditioned in the sewer. They gave this whole backstory. So with that in mind, they're loving this so much. MCA signs them immediately. They don't even have, not even before their first show, they sign them. And then they put them on this like huge nationwide tour. So again, this tour was supposed to be like 60 cities. That's a fucking lot. All right. Which means you have prep time. You're employing a lot of people.
Massive stage show.
There's so many purse snatchings going on because they're just fucking, they're fucking about in like Boise, Idaho.
Yeah, well, I mean, did they make it that far? Or did the tour get canceled before then?
I mean, they were in Boise, but only for a day or two, not the promised 7. So they thought tickets would just be selling out right away.
I just love how at any point in history it's okay to just lie to kids. Like they made a whole fucking documentary. Lying to kids is like debatably worse than Santa Claus. You know what I mean?
I felt really bad for the parents that were had to sit through this.
So I have a question for both of you. Then both of you are musicians and you've done festival work.
Yeah.
You're coming off of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that sold $200 million. This is the most successful movie up until Blair Witch. Blair Witch finally beat that.
As an independent film, yes.
Right. Do you assume that this is going to be a hit and you schedule all of these shows based on that?
Hell yeah. Yeah, but so we should talk about just the production of this real quick to answer that question. There are 4 people on stage in turtle outfits. Their vocals are live between the songs. There are a couple songs that they have live vocals. The first song had live vocals.
April's vocals are live.
Yes, which the only talented person on this whole tour.
I
And
was gonna say that chick rocks, man. She is
so,
busting her ass the
but the
entire
other 9
time.
tracks that are available on the cassette, they're all lip syncing. Okay, so that you have elements of this that are a live band, although there are instruments, but none of them are being played. Even though there's a drum set in the background, that's I don't for whatever fucking reason. But then the show kind of devolves into this plot where Shredder shows up and he wants to steal all the music in all of the world because he doesn't want the turtles to have any fun. And that's it. And he actually has a song called "I Hate Music," which is a little oxymoronic, but that's just me. Okay. So if we want to talk about the show, Leo is on bass and
One string bass.
vocals. Yeah, well, yeah, they explain all their instruments later. Raph is on guitar, Mike is on drums, and Donatello is on 2 or 3 string guitar, and then the keytar.
Mike's on guitar, Donnie's on keyboard, Raph is on percussion and sax.
Okay, see, I think they're just switching it up because I wrote what I saw, but you're right. Like everybody was going back to that. I see. James brought up what they actually look like. It's disturbing. I never noticed that they had ankle warmers on too.
Friggin' rip though, dude.
They are
They're-
juicing for sure.
They're also wearing really tiny tennis shoes.
Oh, Splinter's there as well. Splinter looks black and white compared to all the color of the turtles. He does his Skipping Stones song, which I heard George say that you actually liked that song. Now, hearing it as an adult, what did you think?
No, it grew on me as an adult. I hated it as a kid. It makes a lot more sense to me now. But I mean,
It does? This
Yeah.
song? Okay. What's the song about to you?
just figuring out how to calm everything in a world full of chaos.
How apropos.
I mean, skipping stones, he reaches down with his little rat hand and picks up a stone. Like,
So many good messages for an auditorium of screening
I
children.
honestly think
Do
this
you
would
think
have been.
they served alcohol to their parents?
That's a
I
great
think-
question.
I hope to God they did.
I
Can you
assume this
imagine
is like
how much money someone paid to see this thing at Radio City Music Hall?
that seems like something you should
dragging
look
their
up.
kid in
Like
there.
how much were tickets? I get like $27.50 or something back then.
I don't know, but then you throw in like the light sword and the stupid mask and the
They were throwing
inflatable
pizzas out into the audience.
guitar.
Like
Yeah.
and okay, I'm gonna just try to go through this. Like they go all out. This intro is like for real, for real. Like you're actually gonna watch like the Talking Heads fucking concert footage by Jonathan Demme. But you can tell they're trying their best to get to 90 minutes. Like for some reason there was a contractual obligation to get to like feature length
Yes,
because it
was
is exactly
pay-per-view.
90 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, pay-per-view. That would probably be why. Again, the first song has live vocals, and you could tell because like the guys singing and dancing are not the best singers, and that's fine because I'm sure they're acrobats or something. Is the person playing Splinter a little person? Genuinely curious.
Yeah, I think it might actually be 2 people in a trench coat. Because now that I'm looking at the costume,
Got
now
it.
that I'm I guess it could be.
I like
camera angle.
this version that we saw. It's on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it, and somebody just recorded it straight from their VHS because
Yeah,
there's tracking issues throughout the entire thing.
Dr. Rip VHS. You're doing the Lord's work and almost certainly committing a felony of some kind. But see, here,
MCA is not coming after them. This is like prime real estate they could be selling.
Shredder looks huge.
Shredder's. Let's talk about Shredder's outfit and his eyeliner choices.
It's pretty dramatic.
It looks like a young teenager just discovered makeup, and Baxter Fly is there, and I'm not sure. I think Baxter Fly is being played by a woman. Does anybody get that vibe?
Yeah.
Cross dressing.
I can definitely see that. I wonder how okay they were with these people looking nothing like the characters from the movie.
What
I
was
wonder
the-
if they put effort into it, or if they were just like, "Fuck it, we'll take anyone that has red hair." Done.
There's got to be some kid that's like, that's not him. That doesn't look like him.
That's what I'm saying. Is like some of these were so different than the characters as I remembered them from that era of cartoons or even the movies.
So
Yeah.
you're talking about Sherry Renee Scott when you're talking about someone who has red hair.
I like how George he pretended like he just knew that name. Like, you definitely looked that name up of this fake April O'Neil, right?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking at IMDb right now. But I mean, this is someone who's gone on to do a substantial amount of work. One of two people in the entire cast that actually went on to do a lot of work. But I mean, when you're talking about doing a show like this, I mean, obviously you're taking anyone who's interested. But she could sing, and I mean, like, she really did go all at it. Like, she was doing like off-stage interviews and all kinds of stuff during this production. So
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's a part of the plot. It's that April, she gets kidnapped, but like, you're right, during the beginning part, she's interviewing people as April O'Neil, which I think kids would fucking fall over their tits about. That's great. You were asking earlier, like, what would we feel if we got this gig? If we were somehow involved? Like, I would think that this would be a lock. This would be like, this is great. This is going to make money. This is something I could do in the interim. But I also saw multiple people played some of these turtles, which means they probably quit because, fuck, this is tough to sit through, let alone do every single night of the week.
Yeah, I don't know if that were my job. There's like the
But
part of it
the turtles were singing, but they were also backup dancers during some of the parts when Splinter's doing his Skipping Stone song. They're doing this Tai Chi dance in the background, which just fucking sent me because they have to do something, And then when they're not, George was doing it earlier. They're just saying "We love you," and making dumb jokes. You guys can pipe in at any time.
Yeah, the plot for me it was hard to follow, as simple as it is, but it was just hard to follow because I just imagine myself as a kid in that auditorium.
Mm-hmm.
And even like I was 3 in 1991, so I would have been useless. But if I had been like 10 or 12, like the age that would have been appreciating it,
Yeah.
there's just so many things about this that I would have just been like, what? What? Mom, Dad, why did you bring me here?
I really wonder if I was at that age. I would have loved to. I wonder if I really knew that this was going on because I would have asked to go.
I was 10. I didn't know it was happening. I didn't know about it until the Pizza Hut commercial selling the album came out.
That they were actually going on tour. I don't know. I was like 9. I would think I was a little too old for this. I love the Turtles, but I would be like, that's not them on stage. Whereas like, that's not Santa Claus at the mall kind of energy,
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Is like I tried to imagine myself being there, and honestly, this feels like a bad acid trip.
So James, you
acid trip.
It's more of a fever dream than an acid trip because it did seem fun.
Yeah, this is definitely more cough syrup.
They're robo tripping. Cool.
Yeah, the tussin. Perfect. Yes.
James, you're a gearhead. Is there something? Is a D-harmonic convergence controller a real thing? You take your time.
I don't know why
know.
that's under there, but it does make it sound like you're a fucking scientist of some kind. So don't get rid of it.
I guess Baxterfly makes this thing that can take music out in the world, but for some reason it makes the Turtles lose their fighting energy around it, which seems like a punch up later, but Shredder gets a hold of it and he takes all the music out of the world, including like birds aren't even singing. Elevators have gone silent. It's just so James was saying he was having difficulty understanding the plot. That's the whole plot. The Turtles go missing in the middle. April gets kidnapped, and then they have to
fill 90 minutes. Right? Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
I do also have the D-harmonic convergence controller written down. That's just like gibberish. That's like the equivalent when To anything mechanical, it's always a thermocoupler.
Well, yeah, it's like a flux capacitor, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that
exactly.
doesn't actually exist, right?
Well, I mean, not that we know, but if it does
Okay.
exist, it's certainly opening a portal.
Well,
Did you go
so
ahead?
Shredder actually used a flux capacitor during this because while Splinter is singing Skipping Stones,
Uh-huh.
he interrupts the show and reveals himself to all the kids about how he's going to take over everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterward, after he concludes his time travel, then Splinter passes out on the stage and asks what happened.
So he time traveled? Is what you're saying?
Yes, he had to have time traveled.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense.
Did you guys catch the line? And they said it a couple times. I want to. Did you guys actually watch all this, or did you get snippets and skip ahead?
Oh no, I
all of
watched every.
Okay, then you will know this easily. Shredder's going to take all the music in the world except the catalog of Barry Manilow. Is that true?
That was what the Turtles said, wasn't it? Like, Shredder didn't say that he was going to keep Barry Manilow. Shredder came back and said that he was even going to destroy Barry Manilow.
Okay, all right. So that's not a joke a child would get. That's definitely for the parents in the crowd. I mean, Barry Manilow's the dorky white guy, right? Right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Just so we know who Barry Manilow is.
Well, people get him confused with Barry White, who is a large black.
do you get him confused?
When I say people, I mean me.
I've never run into many people who confuse the two. This is Barry Manilow.
Right. Well, I would petition to change his name to Barry White, just so it's a little more
a
clear
little easier to follow.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Okay. So, who else? Did anybody like the Shredder song where he said, "I hated music"? It's not just because I've been dealing with some writer's block. I was like, this is kind of cool. I like it. Which song was your favorite?
I have no favorite. There was no favorite.
You'd be hard pressed to pick a favorite.
No. There was no favorite part of it. Actually, I take that back. There was a favorite part of this.
Okay.
There was a part where I was watching and I openly laughed out loud, and it was a part at which steam was building in the rad thermometer, and the camera does like a cut to the thing, and it's like about to explode. And when I saw that, I was like, all right, you got me. I'm in.
That won you over?
Yeah, but that was well over halfway into that thing. So
I was noticing about halfway in, this camera was not panning enough to the crowd. I really wanted to see some ugly '90s kids, but they were very sparse on doing that.
There were some, but that's interesting. I didn't think about that until just now. I feel like it kept going back to the same ones. We didn't see a real wide sample.
I think there's the
or
only
maybe
people
there
that
was
signed,
8 kids in the audience.
No, I think they probably signed. They're the only ones that signed a release form.
Yeah, I guarantee it was a full house. I mean, if nothing else, then just to pack the audience so that they could sell the tapes. So everyone there was probably on some promotional thing, probably.
Did it seem like there was production problems? Because there was a point where it looked like Shredder was just doing crowd work. He was just making fun of the audience as if he was waiting for some kind of cue. Or were they contractually obligated to hit a certain amount of time because of union rules?
It was probably that they needed to extend the time for pay-per-view, and they might have needed to move costumes around or something. I don't know. But yeah, the other part that felt like they were buying time was with the reporter that you have on screen now.
That was going to be my next question.
Who is that
was his name Kip or something like that, which I don't understand why they just didn't use Vernon, but they invented this other reporter that no one heard of.
Wait, so who's Vernon?
Vernon was in the cartoon show. He was April, someone who worked with April.
If I didn't get that, how do you think any of those kids would have?
You obviously didn't watch the cartoons.
As you'll see in the
Turtlepedia,
I think they have a whole section on continuity errors. So, Here we go. Actually, speaking of which, during the pay-per-view broadcast pre-show, Kit mentions that they have a home movie of the Turtles writing and practicing their first song, which is shown to be Ralph and Mike writing the studio version of Coming Out of Their Shells in the Sewer. Mike is shown writing the lyrics on a Pizza Hut box before Raph sings the song. However, in the actual show, Mike says the first song they wrote was Pizza Power.
Wow.
So, like, right there, the whole thing falls apart.
I did see that they did talk about that in the behind the scenes featurette that Mike would write the lyrics and Raphael wrote the music, and I was like, what the fuck was Leo and Donnie doing? But
Donnie made all of the instruments that can self play, which is why if you're not seeing them play the music, like the instruments,
what, like a saloon piano, he made one of those.
Yeah, for all
of course. Yeah, and this just tracks that Leo doesn't actually do shit, but he calls himself the leader.
He's probably doing all the promotional stuff.
Oh, I did see in the behind the scenes featurette, he wrote the blueprints for the show. So you're right.
Yeah,
everybody
that's
had their
sciencey.
fucking part.
Yeah. I love this. This other continuity error is hilarious. Shredder says that to prevent the audience from leaving the building, he's, quote, locked all the doors. Obviously, in reality, that wasn't true, and people could still walk out. I
like
think they just are saying that so that no one can be held liable. Just saying. It's a little suspect. That doesn't seem like a continuity
can't get
error.
out of their own shells.
Yeah, it seems like a liability error right there.
Wow. And I mean, I felt kind of gypped at the ending credits too. Was just they just repeated Pizza Power, and I know it's their single and all, but like, you can't play "Smells Like Teen Spirit" twice at the same show, guys. Right? So wait, did nobody else watch the behind the scenes featurette? Because it has some gems. Okay, so I want to talk about that the turtles in that one are not the same as the one in the concert footage. So this is obviously filmed completely separately.
Yeah.
Do you mean as far as the voices, or what do you mean by they're not the...
I say the voices, and I say the actual turtle costumes, not the same.
Right, that's what I was saying. They had two costumes, because all of the behind stage stuff in the show were those costumes as well. And so it was weird because they had that behind the stage costume, which was also used for all the promotional stuff, because they obviously did a whole set in that costume because they showed it. But then there was some weird part before they switched to the other costumes that had the jean jackets, where they put black spots on the cool looking costumes and then carried those black spots over.
I'm not a biologist. Do turtles have these pock marks all over them? Do they try to make it look more realistic? Because those are not in the feature films, right? They're in the third one. I think I remember in the third one they looked pretty ugly.
They were more in the third one. I don't remember them much in the first one. There might have had a couple in the second one, but the third one was where it was more prominent.
Okay.
Like, look at these. Just look at these grade A psychopaths. Like this. Look at this. Look at this. Where's? I just had another one. So this guy. That looks like a villain.
Record executive.
That looks like a villain.
The record
from Teenage
executive
Mutant
that
Ninja
found
Turtles.
them and was all about committing to the Teenage Mutant
He
Ninja Turtles and their
went
vision.
To the sewer, risked gangrene to listen to their show down there.
Now the Psycho and the trucker hat that you were showing before, right around this area, when they're doing the recording sessions, he's totally getting into it, bopping along while they're playing. Like that guy, like that red
he
hat
showed up
weenie
to
sold
work.
his
That's
soul.
horrifying.
Well, I don't know who was talking, because like let's talk about their instruments real quick, like because they get into it on this featurette, and actually. Anybody listening, you could probably just watch the featurette because it shows the best songs, and it's just as silly, and it's an hour less of your time.
And they're better costumes.
So watch that one. So Raph has a 1-string fretless bass, and they make a point out of saying that it's fretless. Okay. And he says they only have 2 strings on one of the other guitar, or a 3-string guitar for Leo because they only have 3 fingers. And it's like he said that with such authority. He's like, well, of course, they only have 3 fingers. And then he said they have MIDI pickups on their instruments, which, like, what fucking kid would know what that
Wow,
means?
that's cutting edge for those
And then
times.
he says the guitar has 3/4 note splits because their fingers are so fat, and he doesn't want them to hit the wrong notes. And that the drums have synth triggers on the timpanis. Again, this guy going above and beyond to make this as real as possible.
And when you look at Mikey when he's playing guitar, like I have fat fingers. I have a hard enough time playing guitar. There's no way he's hitting any fucking note with those.
No, it's just for show.
So if we're going to the California Dreams Awards right now, let's who gets the Tony Award for this one? Who mimed it the best? Low bar.
I do, because you bring up miming, I do want to bring up that I think it was during the song No Treaties, both Mike and Leo are acting like they're playing lead guitar.
They did try it. I'm gonna say, like, I'm gonna have to go with Michelangelo because, like, he hit the snare when he was supposed to, and if they are synth like MIDI triggers, then like that technically could actually be your instrument.
He wasn't playing, but he was selling it the most. But like also the way that the drums were set up, it was like he was dancing. You know, so it was easier for him to sell it because, you know, part of his body moving to the beat is also like playing the instrument.
So he's like Clown from Slipknot.
Yeah,
this is his role. Okay,
sure, yeah.
So do you mean Raph? You're talking about the drums?
Dude, Leo was on, or Mike was on the drums.
Mike was
for
on guitar
for some of this show. Dude,
okay.
No, they went all over the place.
Okay,
it's not in the continuity errors on Turtlepedia, but I saw it. Okay. And they were just like, these kids aren't going to fucking know the difference. Who cares?
And they didn't. They sure didn't.
There's like a legit press conference in this to kick off this tour, and they played at Radio City Music Hall on the fucking roof, like they're playing Get Back, like the Beatles did. It's the press conference looks real to me. It looks like they actually made this into a thing, and we saw this when they went on Oprah and Regis and Kathy Lee. But like, it wasn't. There was kids at this press conference, but there looked like to be a lot of bored-looking camera people too. That they had to cover this thing.
Oh, almost certainly, yeah.
They overshot this completely, thinking this was going to be fucking huge.
Yeah, it was a really bad idea. It was a really bad idea and a terrible expenditure of money. For sure, there's no doubt about that.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm betting they made money on it.
I wholeheartedly disagree. There's no way.
I bet they made money on it. I bet they were trying to go milk it as long as they could. Like they probably wanted it to be like Ice Capades, but
James, you worked festivals. You saw this production. Give me an estimate about how many people had to be working on this show.
I mean, that's not a stage music show. That's a theatrical production. So stage musical show, you might be able to get away with like 20, 30 crew on a stage, on a big stage. A theatrical musical production could be 50, 100 people easy. Huge sets, like just to move that fucking operation from city to cities, multiple semis. It's like the logistics behind that are huge. It's more so than just a band, even with like a huge tour bus and a big trailer.
I had a friend who used to tour with the Rockettes and doing the stage crew
same
stuff.
thing.
And
a live musical stage production, that's a whole different level of...
I think that was like 55, 65 people.
Yeah. Easy. Now, on that, I don't think it would be like 100 person would be like Mannheim Steamroller Christmas special, you know what I mean? Like a huge amphitheater. But 50 people, easy 50 people, excluding all the people that are there filming it for pay-per-view or like that are involved in the broadcast or documentation.
Oh, I didn't think of the pay-per-view people. I was thinking at least 60 people 60
Yeah.
to 80 people.
That'd be a healthy estimate, easy.
And if you look at the actual performances, not the Slater performances, but just like February of 91, they're doing one show per city and no breaks in between. So they have this thing 10, 11, 12, 13 are 4 different states. That's insanity because they were originally booking these shows out for 3, 4, 5, 6 days at a time, and then they had to splice all that down to like one show each. So that is breakneck speed to be striking all of that stuff, driving overnight to a whole other state and to set this up. All for us, all for shitty, snotty, fucking 8-year-old me.
Well, but I mean, there's a performing arts center in every town that serves as
These
the
are
repository.
arenas they're playing. These are huge places. These are convention centers.
But the concept is still the same. It's the equivalent now would be, this is like probably 50% of what Frozen on ice would be.
Okay,
you know what I mean? In a modern context.
Yeah, they were
like the movie. The movie makes $200 million in 1990s money. It was top-grossing film until the Blair Witch Project, and that's a lot of money. Like, I don't know what the inflation would be on that, but that's like close to $1 billion.
Yeah.
So I do see like the perspective of the record industry and the movie company owning the rights to try and exploit the IP in some other creative way. They probably, George is right, they probably didn't lose a ton of money on it. Pizza Hut lost a ton of money on it.
Pizza Hut put $20 million into this.
Pizza Hut sponsored the tour, and the tour wasn't like, you got to think about it too, like the record label and the movie company, record labels probably either got a partnership deal with the movie company or they're already owned by some other subsidiary. The performance of those songs in the arena, they're going to get performance royalties from that, right?
Yeah.
Pizza Hut isn't. Pizza Hut's footing the bill for the logistics of moving from city to city, advertising, like all the shit that the label and the movie company don't want to do, and the movie company and the record company are essentially licensing the right to have the IP performed in these cities. So the movie company and the record label probably didn't lose a ton. I don't know if they made a ton, but Pizza Hut is the real loser here.
Well, Pizza Hut probably only paid for the rights to sell the album, which I think they only sold 250,000 cassettes.
At what? What were they? Like $5, $10?
It was $4 in a Pizza Hut. It was, I think, $15 on the street, or $13 on the street. That's $200 million in 1990 is $508 million today.
Yeah, so $500 million.
And they were really trying to cash in on. I mean, you keep bringing up Ice Capades, but this was around the beginning of the Ice Capades traveling around nonstop, so they were definitely modeling off of that. But they were also trying to get in on the New Kids on the Block and Disney
boy band,
Disney Mickey Mouse Club thing, which I thought was funny that Shredder brought up twice that he heard New Kids on the Block were breaking up, which they did
he
not
was just
break
trying
up
to
until
upset these kids so much.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like the one reference the kids get.
Oh, right.
New Kids on the Block. Oh.
I don't know. Kids could be big Barry Manilow fans. I saw with a friend's kid years ago. I saw the Jurassic World live show because their kid liked dinosaurs, so we went, and it was at Barclays Center, and it was like this. It was like a much more polished version, but it was basically the same thing. You know, like the people that were actually working the show had huge theater kid energy. You could tell that they thought this was a really big deal, and like kids were just running around and begging their parents for
puking
overpriced
all over
merch.
themselves. Yeah.
So I guess this still exists. It's just since I guess not we're all like infertile and we don't have kids. It's like children of men over here. Like none of us will go to any of these things normally.
Well, okay. Also, too, like definitely in the past 30 years, live production, like live event production, has gotten way better everywhere. Like even just think about it. Like I look at this and I'm thinking like from a logistics perspective. They have to bring all these fucking lights and truss, par cans, like, and those lights are like super inefficient. This is a pay-per-view thing, and even in the pay-per-view thing, it's hard to see shit. It's so dark. It's like it's LED walls. We can have way more light and do way crazier stuff than we ever like. If I had to go see one now, I probably wouldn't be as bummed as if I went to go see this.
I saw Cirque du Soleil in December, and it was mind blowing. I mean, the stuff that they can do all around is just crazy.
And dude, lasers, projection mapping. Like in the past 20 years, it is that's how live shows were for forever.
Yeah,
it was like a trailer with lights on truss, Parcan lights on truss, a terrible sound system, and enough cabling to string it all together. Like you look at the pictures of the Beatles playing shows, Shea Stadium. That's my favorite picture. They've got like one Fender 12-inch for Shea Stadium. They don't even have a fucking microphone on it. It's comical. That's how it used to be.
So that leads into part of the reason why the costumes on stage were so bad, is because they wanted them to be something that the audience could see from far away. So their faces were static and didn't have much movement.
The lips were sort of moving, so I think they must have really hurt their jaw. They must have dislocated it trying to make some kind of movement. It was the
opening and closing, but it wasn't the same level of animatronics that the backstage costumes had.
Yeah, or the Jim Henson ones from the movies.
Right, but this was a different costume designer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I honestly, it's funny that you say that, because that was the one thing that didn't really bother me. I thought the adapting of the face animatronics to the stage, it actually wasn't even that bad.
So you're saying
it wasn't the movie. It for sure was nowhere near as like articulate, and like the movements of the portions of their face to emote, to add whatever emotion they're speaking.
The mouth
didn't
flaps
have that,
with the talking. It was fine.
That was fine. Yeah, that didn't really even take me out of it.
So what you're saying is they went out of their shells for this tour so they could move around more.
See, you're bringing up a good point, because let me see if I can find. I just want to find this one spot. Oh my god, damn, on fucking Radio City Music Hall. Is that real, or is it green screened? Are they really doing this?
Oh, they're really doing that.
That's unbelievable.
They actually were doing that.
That's just completely unbelievable to me. I'm going to jump out of my window.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, so hang on. Let me find. There's like one. Okay, so look. They do have the shell,
right?
At least at the press conference, but it's more like a diaper. Right?
That's their backstage.
Yeah,
it's a giant colostomy bag.
Yeah. So I honestly feel like this would have been better if they just had got rid of the shells entirely. I didn't mind the.
I mean, they did for the tour. Do you think they like
Ninja
stripped
Turtles.
down on stage and got rid of like a fight way in? Like they made this. Why was there a press?
They're wearing
conference?
trash bags while running, spit and with dip in their mouth.
Exactly.
They're cutting weight.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. If you guys want to sit through it, would you recommend anybody watch this?
Like, are we sure this isn't green screen though? Like,
no,
yes.
they were doing that.
This could have been
there.
this could have been green screen.
As the person who chose this project,
Yeah, fuck you.
From a deep position in my heart going way back. No, I would not recommend to anyone watch this at all.
This was tough. This was tough to get through, and I don't want to talk about it again. And there's so much Turtles media out there. Like I was a fan of the first and second film, even though they were made at a breakneck speed. Like that movie hit so hard in 1990. The next one was out in 10 months. So they wanted to milk that. Third one, as we know, doesn't exist. It's pretty bad. But then these reboots, people seem to enjoy. And not just the Michael Bay ones, but the ones that came out after that, right? I can't keep up with Maybe Turtlepedia
Yeah,
has the
I
answer,
guess
but there's been a lot.
this is my question. What turtle media existed in 91 and 92? Was there a cartoon?
In
like a
91,
full-fledged
92, you have
cartoon?
the original cartoon series, you have the original comic book series,
books,
and you
yeah.
have the first two movies.
Okay. Yeah, so honestly, in retrospect, us looking at this, it's like, Jesus Christ, more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shit, but really, in context, I completely understand why they were doing this, and it's because this IP was nowhere. If they're still exploiting it the way that they are now, this was a good idea.
Well,
this
they
is another
did
way.
try to exploit this again in
I think
2020.
you guys are
They were going to
forgetting
do.
MCA saying they believed in them as a band, not just a commodity
Yeah, sure.
to exploit it.
George, you said they were going to reboot it.
In 2020, they were going to have them perform
Thank God for COVID.
Comic-Con, and they had the
Fucking COVID fucked it up.
They had the coming out of their shell action figures that were being released for that.
Because I guess it was the 30-year anniversary of it, right?
25 was 2009, so yeah, I don't know what.
Well, that's like the one.
Well, I mean,
good
this
thing
came out in
coming out of
1990,
COVID.
so that would be 30
Yeah.
years from the OG one.
Yeah, definitely. COVID really
So-
did us a solid there.
Going back to if I would recommend this, it would be absolutely not. I do have a special place in my heart for the album, and I did want to say the lyrics in the album might not be great, but you can tell that whoever wrote all of that put the absolute maximum amount of effort into those lyrics.
That's something. This is kind of like California Dreams, just to bring it back. We're on Surf Dudes with Attitude. Like somebody cared behind the scenes, is what you're
Yes.
saying. This seems like a cash grab, but you're saying somebody cared.
The guy who sang for Michelangelo and the guy who sang for Splinter are the ones who wrote everything.
Okay.
Wow.
Do you think that there's any person on here that shared production with California Dreams? On the same time frame, probably the same geographical location.
Probably on the back end.
Yeah,
Probably there's some Kevin Bacon
production,
shit going on. I'm pretty sure. I
like
remember
executive production level.
you guys didn't tell me your favorite songs. James was unable to, but I'm
Here,
gonna
listen.
say
Here, listen. I just I'm pulling this up because it's from the video. At some point in the video, like I was mentioning before, they're taking a measurement of like terribleness, and this is the show measuring its own level of good. And this is what the meter said. Totally uncool. This isn't me. This is their own show's success meter. It says totally uncool. So just wanted to make
bad,
sure.
really bad, and totally uncool.
Totally uncool.
There's no room for it to be great
No.
or even adequate.
Yeah. That's my point. Yes.
I will say that the Skipping Stone song is bad, and the Rachel ballad is totally uncool. I will say my favorite song back then and still today is Tubin, which is a song about surfing in the sewer. We're supposed to believe that they're catching waves in the sewer, right? That's what the song's
Tubin.
about.
Yeah. Surfing subterranean.
Yeah. It depends on how many people had like tacos the day before. I guess I don't know how that works down
My
there.
brother and I were like, these other songs suck, but Tubin is like, it's actually pretty cool.
I guess if I had to pick one, I would probably pick the
Walk Straight.
no, it would definitely be this one, mostly just because of how, like, this isn't even that deep in. This is like 10 minutes in, and I was like, why is this rat getting so sentimental?
Skipping
so
Stones.
early.
Yeah.
We're not even like into, I don't even know what's going on here, and already this rat is crooning to me like Barry Manilow.
Or Barry White.
Or Barry White. Yeah, I guess it just depends.
I can't believe George is still defending that song. They put it up front because
I'm
they're
not
like,
saying it's a great
we're
song.
gonna put people
I'm
to
saying
sleep
I
if
used
it's
to
any
hate
later.
it when I was a kid, and it's grown on me.
You have
I don't-
just
I don't
become an
skip
old,
the
sad
song when I
sack.
listen to the album now.
You listen to this album like
Oh yeah, for sure.
you listen to this album straight through.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me?
It's
Yeah, I'll throw it on
it's
every
one
now
of
and
his
then just
first
because.
albums. It's one of his first
But
albums.
you're listening to this by yourself, not like you're with some people and you're like, "Yo, guys, check this nostalgic bit out." Like,
Oh, you think I'm going to throw this on at a party at my house? Like, no, of course I'm listening to it
asking you-
alone. I would never listen to this with another human being present.
that doesn't compute with me. I would only listen to this with other people so we could talk through it.
No,
and we
you,
could
you,
make fun
you
of it.
hide this
You
shit
watch-
and you bury
you
it
listen
deep
to this-
down dark inside.
You listen to this by yourself, like in your car going to work or something.
Yeah, when else are you supposed to listen to it? Not with other people around.
Dude, that's issues, man. I hope you're talking to somebody. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm saying, like, if you're just like raw dogging this music and you're not like giggling or looking up the trivia about it, I don't understand. Is that harsh? I don't mean to be harsh.
It was the first album I ever owned. Of course, I revisit it. I mean, it's not like something that comes up in my regular rotation. Maybe once every other year. I mean,
okay. I guess it's a little better, but
Yeah,
geez.
no, that's fair. Some of the first records I owned were that were actually mine and weren't my sister's or my parents. Were movie soundtracks, and it was Office Space and shit. What is that?
Office Space had a great soundtrack.
It was
That
an
did have a great
incredible
soundtrack.
soundtrack. That is still, I will happily put on
Introduce
any
me to
song from that
Scarface.
soundtrack. Yeah, I don't know, seriously. And Ghetto Boys. But damn it, what was the other one? Space Jam.
Oh, okay.
So I can hear that. And like there's some of the songs on there that are goofy as shit. But if they came on, I would be like, someone just put on the Space Jam soundtrack. I mean, dude, there are legitimate parties where Space Jam does come on the soundtrack. Or songs from that soundtrack come on, you know.
It's got R. Kelly. I'm sure it's aged great.
So I get it. Yeah. I mean, this doesn't have R. Kelly on it.
That's maybe would have made
Maybe
it.
that's what it's missing.
This would have made it break even, I think. So
so to answer your question, as a kid, I liked Cowabunga. Today, it's more like a No Treaties, probably.
Yeah,
Wow.
your palate has been refined,
Yeah.
you know.
But since we're talking about all that, getting back into it before we wrap up, did anyone find it ridiculous how easy it was to beat Shredder? Like, Shredder has this massive scheme to
bit
take all of the
anticlimactic.
music out of the world, and all they do is kick him a few times,
Yeah,
and
no,
he runs
seriously,
away.
that was pretty weak.
they used the power of music and being awesome.
Did they?
To yeah, that's how they framed it, at least.
Like, I'm pretty confident today I could beat Shredder, if that's all it takes.
I mean, that fight choreography, I think you could as well.
Yeah, you know, I feel like, especially toward the end, the cocaine ran out, and they had to figure out a way to wrap up the end of this thing, and so that's what we got. And you know, again, we've been saying this all the time. They're clearly trying to fill 90 minutes, and I don't know for sure if that's like a standard for pay-per-view, but that would make sense if they were going to get that pay-per-view slot, and they wanted to. They would have to sign a deal to say we will fill X amount of time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's why all of boxing has a bunch of underweights on the card now.
Yeah,
You know, like
Well, absolutely got to
Yeah.
fill the time.
because you know Tyson's going to knock the guy out in a minute and a half, but what are you going to do to justify taking everybody's money?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it makes sense. And again, the big loser here financially is Pizza Hut, and we all know how that played out. You know.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even Pizza Hut in the movie; it was Domino's. So
well, that's why Pizza Hut threw the $20 million in, because they saw what it did for Domino's and didn't want to miss out on it.
They got
should have been Little Caesars.
They got
That's-
rinsed.
Well, anyway, that's the coming out of their shells tour. Both
Thank you. We love you.
the concert footage and the behind the scenes. If you guys want extra viewing, you can look up their super cringy Oprah interview that they do, or the one on Regis and Kathy Lee, where they're definitely getting flirty with the Turtles. So there's some bestiality stuff that may or may not be hinted at very heavily. But that's just crazy that there's a press tour for this, as if it wasn't going to sell enough. But I guess back then, if you weren't looking in the paper, you did not know where this thing was
Quintessentially
coming.
90s. Everything about this is quintessentially 90s. They're on Regis and Kelly. They go on Letterman or Leno.
I think it was actually
yeah.
Kathy Lee back then. It was before.
Yeah, it was
It was when she was
Wow.
married to Marv Albert, right? Before
Wow.
he started biting hookers.
Quintessentially 90s.
That's good. I mean, and that's what we do here on Surf Dudes with Attitude. We will be back around spring for season 3. I'm excited. James is going to be joining us.
Oh, we've got so many hot takes.
Yeah, are you guys right? Are you guys excited for like the 3rd season? Because we know everything fucking changes at that point. Everything. No, see, just speechless. They can't wait.
I don't know what to expect.
I'm trying to envision in my head what that means, and I'm just coming up with nothing.
Well, we're gonna. I mean, are you gonna watch season 2, like the rest of season 2, and catch up? Or are you just gonna go and fucking cold cocked?
I'll probably, because they're not going to have like a season recap, I'll probably go back and watch the last 2 or 3 episodes leading
You almost
into...
like don't even need to. They don't.
It's that
There's
separate.
no finale. No, there's nothing that says anybody's actually gonna leave. They
You gotta watch the last episode.
You should watch it because they have an outside shot. There's a prom episode.
Kelly broke up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Kelly. No, it's Kelly Packard.
Tiffany.
It's Tiffany.
Kelly Packard. Tiffany.
We've been away for this for too long, George. We're forgetting their names. We got some other cool stuff in between season stuff that we want to put out, some secret stuff. But I'm excited to get back to it. Anyway, thank you guys for coming on and talking to us about George's favorite album from when he was a kid. I'm really glad we did this for him. It's a band. We talked about another band. That's what we do as musicians here.
I'm not mad about any of it. All I'm saying is the entire time I was confused. Like, if there could have been a camera on my face as I was watching this, it was just concern.
Yeah.
Every layer that and I loved Ninja Turtles, but I wasn't deep into the cartoon. I had none of the comics. Definitely was not even aware of this, even though this is occurring when I was still shitting on my own self. So, I don't know. This it was fine. It was fine. On a scale from 1 to radical or cowabunga, what would you guys rate it?
I would rate this as bad to totally uncool. This whole thing. So,
1 to 10, this is probably about a 3.
Yeah.
The music
not high
alone
marks.
is probably about a 5.
Honestly, the music that's the only meat there.
Right.
That's the only meat. They should have just stopped at the record. That would have been great.
Yeah, if the record stood alone, it might be a strong 6.
That would be a 44-minute show, which maybe that would have been better.
Great. That sounds so great.
So anyway, we're gonna see you guys when we see you. Thank you everybody for listening to Surf Dudes with Attitude. Check out James. You want to plug your podcast?
Yeah, sure. If you're sick of my ridiculous takes on this show and you want to try my ridiculous takes on another show, come check out the TLB pod. We talk about all sorts of crazy stuff. This is much more reasonable and grounded. The show is much more reasonable and grounded.
It's a totally legitimate business podcast. You guys can check that out on Instagram. We are also on Instagram and YouTube at Surf Dudes with Attitude. You can contact us at surfdudeswithattitude@gmail.com if you have any other recommendations for other side projects you want to hear. And I don't know. We're really looking forward to season 3, and we're going to see you then. So until then, I'm Pete from New York City, and I'm going to need a new catchphrase.
Cowabunga dudes.
I guess, yeah, be bodacious to each other.
Totally uncool, dude.